When a man deeply loves you, something begins to change inside him. It may not happen overnight, and it may not always look dramatic, but slowly, you notice that the walls he once kept firmly in place begin to come down. A man can be strong, independent, confident, and comfortable handling his problems alone, yet genuine love can make him want to share the parts of himself that he normally keeps hidden. He begins to realize that loving someone is not simply about spending time together, being attracted to each other, or saying beautiful words. It is about allowing another person to see the real person behind the confidence, the silence, and sometimes even the emotional armor. One of the clearest signs of this emotional openness is that he starts telling you things he does not tell everyone. He may talk about experiences from his childhood, mistakes he regrets, fears he rarely admits, or dreams he has been afraid to pursue. These conversations can seem ordinary on the surface, but they reveal something much deeper. He is giving you access to his inner world. He is saying, without necessarily using those exact words, "I trust you enough to let you see me as I really am." A man who deeply loves you does not always feel the need to appear invincible around you. He may admit when something hurts him. He may tell you that he is worried about an important decision. He may confess that he sometimes doubts himself. He may even admit when he feels confused or uncertain. That vulnerability does not make him weak. In many cases, it shows that he feels emotionally safe with you. He no longer believes that he has to perform a perfect version of himself to keep your affection. This is important because real intimacy begins where performance ends. Anyone can show confidence when everything is going well. Anyone can appear strong when there are no problems. But when someone trusts you enough to reveal what is happening beneath the surface, the relationship begins moving from attraction toward emotional connection. He is no longer simply trying to impress you. He is allowing you to understand him. You may also notice that his conversations become more personal. Instead of only talking about work, entertainment, friends, or everyday events, he starts asking questions about your feelings and sharing his own. He may say, "I've been thinking about something lately," or "I never really told anyone this before." Those moments matter. They show that the relationship has become a place where he can process life rather than simply escape from it. Sometimes his emotional openness may appear through small statements rather than dramatic confessions. He might tell you that he misses you after a difficult day. He might admit that something you said affected him deeply. He might tell you that he was nervous before meeting you. He might even say that he is afraid of losing something meaningful between you. These statements reveal emotional investment because he is no longer protecting himself from every uncomfortable feeling. But there is another side to this. Emotional openness is not simply about talking more. It is also about listening. When a man genuinely loves you, he becomes more interested in understanding your emotional world. He does not only wait for his turn to speak. He pays attention to what you say, remembers things that matter to you, and tries to understand why certain situations affect you. Love creates curiosity about the person, not just enjoyment of their presence. You may notice him remembering something you mentioned weeks ago. Perhaps you casually told him about a goal you wanted to achieve, a difficult experience from your past, or something that makes you anxious. Later, he brings it up because he remembers. That simple act can communicate something powerful. What matters to you matters to me. Deep love also changes the way a man handles difficult conversations. Someone who is emotionally disconnected may avoid every uncomfortable discussion, become defensive, disappear, or pretend that nothing happened. A man who is genuinely invested may still struggle with communication because nobody becomes emotionally mature simply by falling in love. But when the relationship matters deeply to him, he has a reason to try. He becomes more willing to explain himself, hear your perspective, and acknowledge when he has made a mistake. Sometimes you will hear words such as, "I understand why that hurt you," or "I should have handled that differently." Those words can mean more than a romantic compliment because they show emotional responsibility. He is not merely protecting his ego. He is protecting the connection. There may also be moments when he tells you about his future fears. Perhaps he worries about failing, disappointing people, not becoming the person he wants to be, or making the wrong decision. When he shares these concerns, he is trusting you with something fragile. The goal should never be to use those vulnerabilities against him later. If someone opens his heart and receives judgment, ridicule, or manipulation, he may close those doors again. That is why emotional safety is so important in love. When someone reveals their softer side, they need to know that their honesty will not become ammunition during the next argument. Trust grows when two people can disagree without destroying each other emotionally. It grows when vulnerability is met with compassion rather than criticism. A man who deeply loves you may still have moments when he struggles to express himself. He may need time to find the right words. He may communicate imperfectly. He may not suddenly become a poet or reveal every feeling he has. Love does not erase personality or emotional habits. What matters is the direction in which he moves. If he gradually becomes more honest, more comfortable sharing, more willing to listen, and more willing to let you see behind the mask, that can be a meaningful sign of growing emotional intimacy, because ultimately, the deepest form of love is not simply being wanted, it is being trusted. When a man allows you to see the fears behind his confidence, the uncertainty behind his decisions, the dreams behind his ambition, and the emotions behind his silence, he is giving you something much more valuable than attention. He is giving you access to his authentic self. And when two people can meet each other there with honesty, respect, patience, and compassion, that is where a relationship can begin to feel less like a temporary connection and more like a place where two human beings can finally be fully seen. When a man deeply loves you, his way of thinking about the future often begins to change. He may stop seeing his life as a collection of separate plans and start naturally imagining where you fit into the picture. This does not necessarily mean he immediately starts talking about marriage, children, or making enormous promises. Sometimes it appears in much smaller and more meaningful ways. He starts using the word we instead of always saying I. He talks about places he wants to visit with you, experiences he wants to share, goals he wants to build toward, and moments he hopes you will still be there to experience with him. This shift matters because the future represents uncertainty. Nobody knows exactly what tomorrow will bring. When someone begins including you in the picture despite that uncertainty, it often means they are emotionally invested in the relationship. He is not simply enjoying what exists today. He is beginning to imagine what could exist tomorrow. You might hear him say things like, "We should go there someday. When we have more time, we can do this," or "I want you to be there when I achieve this." These statements can sound casual, but repeated over time they reveal something important. He is mentally creating space for you in his life. You are no longer simply someone he spends time with. You are becoming part of the way he thinks about his life. A deeply loving man may also start asking questions that have nothing to do with the present moment. He may want to know what kind of life you want in the future, where you would like to live, what kind of work would make you happy, what experiences you still want to have, or what kind of family environment you value. He is learning your vision because he wants to understand whether your dreams can exist alongside his. That does not mean every couple must have identical dreams. In fact, healthy love does not require two people to become the same person. You can have different interests, ambitions, personalities, and preferences. What matters is whether both people are willing to understand those differences and consider each other when making important choices. When a man deeply loves you, he may begin making decisions differently because your well-being has become part of his consideration. Before making a major decision, he might think about how it could affect you. He may tell you about an opportunity because he values your opinion. He may ask what you think before accepting a major commitment. He may want to know how you feel about a potential change in his life. This is not about asking for permission to live. It is about recognizing that serious relationships involve two people whose lives are increasingly connected. You can also see this through consistency. Anyone can make a beautiful promise during an emotional moment. But genuine love is better measured by patterns than by dramatic statements. If he talks about a future with you but constantly behaves as though you are temporary, his words do not mean much. If he talks about building something together and his actions gradually support those words, then the message becomes much stronger. For example, if he says he wants you in his future, but never makes time for you, never considers your needs, and repeatedly disappears whenever things become difficult, the future talk may simply be fantasy. But if he communicates consistently, makes realistic plans, respects your boundaries, and follows through on what he says, then his vision of the future has substance. Another powerful sign is that he begins introducing you into different areas of his life. He may want you to meet people who are important to him. He may talk about you with his friends or family. He may include you in celebrations, traditions, or important events. Again, this does not mean every relationship has to follow the same timeline. People have different circumstances and different comfort levels. But when someone is serious about building a life with you, they usually become less interested in keeping the relationship isolated from the rest of their world. He may also begin thinking beyond romantic moments. Real love eventually has to deal with ordinary life. Bills, responsibilities, career decisions, family situations, difficult seasons, personal growth, and unexpected problems all become part of a long-term relationship. A man who deeply loves you may begin discussing how the two of you could handle these realities together. He might say, "If that happens, we'll figure it out." Or whatever happens, we can work through it. The important part is not the exact phrase. It is the mindset behind it. He is no longer thinking only about whether the relationship feels good when everything is easy. He is considering whether the two of you can remain connected when life becomes complicated. Love also changes the way someone talks about personal growth. A man who sees you as part of his future may become more conscious of the person he wants to become. He may talk about improving his career, becoming more responsible, managing his emotions better, saving money, learning new skills, or creating a healthier lifestyle. He may not change instantly, but he may begin thinking differently about his responsibilities because he knows his choices affect more than just himself. At the same time, it is important not to confuse future talk with guaranteed commitment. Someone can sincerely feel love and still be uncertain about specific details of the future. People need time to make serious decisions. A healthy relationship leaves room for honest conversations rather than forcing someone into promises before they are ready. The real sign is not how grand his promises sound. It is whether his words, choices, and behavior gradually move in the same direction. When a man genuinely loves you, he does not have to constantly announce that you are his future. You begin to feel it through the way he includes you, considers you, listens to your dreams, makes realistic plans, and creates room for you in his everyday life, because love becomes especially meaningful when it moves beyond emotion and enters intention. Feelings can be powerful, but intention gives those feelings direction. When he starts imagining experiences with you, considering your dreams, planning around your presence, and building a life where you naturally have a place, he is showing that you are becoming more than a moment in his life. You are becoming part of the story he is consciously choosing to continue writing.